So I'm going to get started. So, good morning to everyone, and thanks for coming. This summer we had a really unique opportunity. I met Corey and Amy last January of 2019 in a class that I teach at Temple. And every year I always ask the Temple class students if they were interested in interning with me over the summer, because we're always looking for interns. Great opportunity to get college kids who are looking for internships here. I normally get the kids who haven't been looking and it's too late and they don't have so much jobs. But I got the word out early enough this year, and after that class, and as soon as they got back to the next class, Corey and Amy both said they were interested. And I asked them what their majors were, and they said Actuarial Science. And a light bulb went off that we can use their knowledge to help Rodney Street. And their particular actuarial science knowledge kind of helped us in a place in the organization where we didn't have a lot of data. We were kind of light with longitudinal data, and they were able to create some things that will help us. So, with that being said,
Thank you.
Introduce yourself first.
Yeah, so I'm Corey. I've had the unique opportunity to be interning with Rodney Street this summer. I know going into it, I think I can speak for both of us here, we definitely weren't expecting this at all. Like, we went into this not knowing what to expect at all. And so far it's just been awesome. I've had a blast. It's been really fun working with the kids and doing all this stuff. It's been really cool. So I'm glad to have had this opportunity.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Amy. Like Corey said, going into this internship, we both were like, wow, we don't even know what's gonna happen. We just hope for the best, and we literally got beyond the best. Like, this internship has been great. Underneath Indy as our supervisor, she's been amazing. Anything that she needs help with, she's like, can you guys help me? We're like, yes, just give us work, we're good. Like, it's been great so far. So doing all the data work, she's been super helpful in giving us all the stuff that we need, especially Sandra as well, giving us all the stuff that we need in order to give you this presentation today.
Alright, so what we're going to talk about today, me and Tanya are going to do a little bit of introduction, and then we're going to talk about our program model, and then Amy and I are going to introduce what we do here at Rodney Street, like why Rodney Street benefits the kids, and like how we benefit the kids, what we do to help them out, and then we're going to present a hypothesis about success rates, so that would be interesting. And then we're going to get into like how we chose to run the analysis, the actuarial perspective, and why we chose to do that. And I'm going to talk about the data, present the results, and then go on from there. So, Green?
So, let's go to the next one. We can go to the next one. So, when we had this opportunity with our actuarial science students, I started to think, my mind started to go like, what supports can we get? And I thought of Tanya. I've worked with Tanya maybe about 6 years on various things and projects. And she kind of helped us and oversaw this with us. And we were able to come up with a theory of change. Problem statement: use Black access to adequate resources are at risk of having poor social health and educational outcomes. Basically, kids from really bad situations don't do as well. Theory of change: by providing youth with access to supportive peers, healthy activities, educational enrichment, and positive adult role models, Rodney Street will demonstrate above average social health and educational outcomes. We're good people. We care about the kids, we care about what they do, we care about how they eat, dress, act, play, all of those things. We give them that safe space, they can come and thrive. So that's what that means, and this is what we're trying to prove with this report and study.
Morning, everybody. I'm Tanya Hills. I'm founder and principal consultant of Consultant LLC. And I essentially help organizations ask strategic questions about their work and then figure out ways in which they can track data to better understand how they make strategic decisions as an organization. And so, so I've helped, I don't want to stand in front of you, I've helped these guys understand what it is that really the organization is trying to achieve, right? And so with the previous slide, you know, with the problem statement, essentially that's why Rodney Street exists. Do you want to go back to that previous slide for a sec? So the organization, essentially, you know, mission-based organizations, nonprofit organizations, were founded to address one or another social challenges, right? That's what sets them aside from the for-profit and business community, right? And so at the onset of every, starting every nonprofit organization, the organization needs to decide what is it specifically that we're trying to achieve, or what problem are we trying to address, right? And so that is the problem you're trying to address, essentially access. As I reviewed all of your literature and looked at the different programs that you guys offer and looked at the different data that you guys collect, essentially that's where we landed. You are trying to increase access, right, for the youth that you serve so that you can achieve better social, health, and educational outcomes for the youth that participate in your programs, right? And so that, from there, develops into your theory of change, right? You start the organization because you believe you can have an impact or change something, right? And so your theory is that by providing access to positive peers, right? So positive social norming, influencing, healthy activities, right? Through the tennis and the nutrition programming, right? Educational enrichment, right? Through your STEAM program and your life skills programming. And positive relationships with adults, that you're going to actually have an impact on those outcomes, right? On the social and health and educational outcomes of youth, right? And we know that, I mean, basically from the research, we know that one of the single most important factors in whether a child survives or thrives is whether they have an adult role model in their life, right? And so while you don't have a specific mentoring program per se, right, that's woven into all of your programs, right? And so your programming is really linked back to the research, right, on youth development, right? And we can go into, at a later point, like what all that research says and how your programs are designed to achieve those outcomes through the research that's been produced. Okay, thanks. So essentially, you are implementing your theory through your strategies, right? And so your theory is that by providing all of those inputs, right, positive adult relationships, positive peer relationships, academic enrichment, et cetera, that you've developed these strategies, right? And these strategies are your programs, right? These are all of your programs, right? And over here, these are the outputs, right? These are the things that come out of the fact that you are delivering these programs, right? And this list is not a comprehensive list, right? We could keep going and list all of the outputs, but it's an example of the different things that are the result of implementing these strategies. Right? And then over here we have the short-term outcomes, right? So in the short term, really all you can hope to achieve in the short term is changes in knowledge, changes in attitude, and changes in skill set. Right? Behavioral changes come later, right? And that's where you might start to see intermediate outcomes, right? You have to believe that you can learn tennis, take an interest in tennis, and learn tennis in order to want to play tennis, in order to see an increase in participation, right? So short term, we measure things like knowledge, skills, and attitudes, and then we start to get into behavioral measurements when we get to the intermediate. And then the long term are the impact. Essentially, you know, the end, what you're trying to achieve, right? Increased quality of life, increased earning potential, higher educational attainment, right? Healthy, emotionally healthy, and physically healthy, mentally healthy youth, right? And when we're talking about impact, we're talking about long-term change, right? So these are things that you would expect to see if you had the ability to measure them and follow them, you know, throughout their pathway of play with you guys from, you know, 5 years old to 17 years old, but then even beyond that, hopefully through like an alumni association, right? So, I mean, even here, we could get a lot more specific with what it is that we mean by these things, right? This is where you would start to develop what it is specifically that you plan to measure, right? Because there are a lot of different things that go into having a good quality of life, right? You want to have positive relationships with your spouse and with your children. You want to have the economic means to participate in recreational activities. Right? There are a lot of different things. You want to have good health. Right? And so, this is where we would start to get into what do we mean? How are we actually going to measure higher educational attainment? For us, does that mean graduation from high school? Does that mean acceptance into college? Graduation from college? Post-secondary education? So that's where the work remains to be done in terms of setting the organization up for being able to measure the things that you want to measure, to know the impact that you're making for the future. Any questions about that? No? And again, we can, all of these things, we had one slide to display this, but all of these things could continue, and there's a much longer list that we could add there.
So our program model is designed, you've heard me talk about this a bunch of different times, right? And you've heard me say, well, we do these play days in these schools and we do these play weeks. And we go and we set up shop in a school for a week. PE class, 6 hours a day. You see every kid in the entire school. That's the bottom half of the pyramid. Back to school nights, we go back, we set up a table at the back to school night, promote our program, part of marketing, kind of how we throw a big net out there. So this is out here. Teacher professional developments, we offer teachers opportunities to learn how to deal with their students that we're dealing with. So we're kind of pulling the teachers in. And also we want the teachers to kind of say, tennis is cool, so you guys should go play. We kind of want them organically to push the kids towards our program. And then that's the bottom spot. That's the bottom third of the triangle. The middle is after we've done our play weeks, we offer the kids opportunities to participate in our after-school program that take place at the school. So we'll hand out flyers, program at the school. 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, however long, meet 1 to 3 days a week, depending on their schedule and how they're able to fit us in. And then further up, those young people who have taken an interest and really want to get better and really want to learn, self-select into our more intense program that you see at the top. So when you come and visit us on Saturday nights at DuPont, you've seen the kids who started off in our play week, participate in our school program, and now want to get better. And hopefully that as we do that more, we'll build another cohort. Each year, we'll build another cohort of 10 to 20 kids. So that model supports the previous slide.
Thank you, Kari and Kenya. So we're moving to our important role here at Rodney Street. So our important role that we do here at Rodney Street is increasing kids' interest and development in tennis and education. And while we're also doing that, we provide a safe learning environment for our students, as well as surrounding our students with positive adult influence. As Tanya had said, it's important that children have role models. Without role models, there's really no one for kids to look up to. How are they going to know what's good and what's bad, or how are they going to grow up, or what they want to be when they grow up? So we provide that here at Rodney Street. And so what we do is we play tennis. We play tennis and we do STEAM and we go on field trips. When we do tennis, we do drills, and they also get to play match play, which is where they get a feel of what it's like to be in a competition between their peers. So they realize, oh, well, I'm not just playing tennis. I'm doing this because it can be a competition if I wanted to be a tennis player when I grow up. And so we also go on field trips off campus. We've gone to zoos, we've gone to museums, we've gone to parks, and we also do STEAM here at Tower Hill, which is also we incorporate project-based learning, which is where we do activities and different crafts and learning activities where we can see how kids build things or learn how their creativity works in their minds. So curiosity runs wild, and so that's what we do here at Rodney Street. And so the benefits of our project-based learning, as we can see in the video, the kids are making elephant toothpaste. And so they're learning the their chemical reactions in the things that they are mixing. So we see here that they are learning collaboration, they're working together to make this chemical reaction happen. They're problem solving, they're learning creativity, they're learning an in-depth understanding with their teacher, Ms. Indy, and they also learn self-confidence because when something works, they feel achieved. And more benefits that we can see are critical thinking, perseverance, project management, and curiosity, clearly, and empowerment while they do these projects. And so our benefits for all of our kids is that while they're with us 5 days a week, they play tennis. So with this, they live a happy, healthy, active lifestyle while they're here, and they also earn an educational boost. According to one of the sources that we had found, USDA had said that tennis players, or kids that play tennis, are more likely to receive higher grades and graduate from high school and move on to college. And most of them who were in the study had said that they were definitely going, they stated that they were definitely going to college and that they were going to graduate from a four-year university. And so we can also see that not only do they play tennis, but they also have fun ways to learn in STEAM. And they are able to meet new friends and meet people from different schools that they might not see every day. So people from other towns, they come here to camp and they meet new friends. So the benefits for friends who are from under-resourced communities, they might not have certain technologies that we have. Like we have iPads here that the kids get to play educational games on. They learn different things for reading, and they play Prodigy for math. And they're able to go on field trips as well. And they go to places that let their creativity run wild. Like we went to the Delaware Children's Museum, where I truly did not know what to expect when we went there. I thought it was just gonna, I don't know, like just look at exhibits. And when I went there, you literally, like, everything is hands-on. You do everything. Like there was water projects, there was a little like restaurant that they had in there where they could interact with like other children who were at the museum. It was so cute. They got to role play and everything. And so they also do STEAM here at Tower Hill with Rodney Street. And not all schools have STEAM in the curriculum. So for the schools that don't have STEAM in the curriculum, it's kind of not really geared toward what kids would like to do when they grow up. So they don't really know if they want to be an engineer. They don't know if they want to be in technology. They don't know if they want to do art. But here with STEAM, they're able to realize, oh, I kind of like science. I think I want to do something towards that. Oh, I kind of like technology. I like computers. I think I want to go somewhere around that. So that's why we have STEAM in our program.
Okay. So now we're going to get into a little hypothesis. So the hypothesis states, if students play tennis, then they will have a higher rate of success throughout life compared to their peers. Now, how do we define success? We define success here as earning an income, as going on to graduate high school and earning an income of at least $37,000. That's how we define success. So the hypothesis states, if students play tennis, then they will have a higher rate of success throughout life compared to their peers. So like, we don't only want our kids to just graduate high school. We would like to see, like, further down the line, we would like to see our kids go on to graduate college and earn an even higher income. So that's really the range of where we're looking for in success. Now, let's talk about actuarial science. Anyone know what actuarial science is? Just a little bit. So this is just a little definition of actuarial science. It is the evaluation of risk and opportunity in incorporates mathematics, statistics, economics, and finance to solve a wide variety of business problems. And we chose to run the analysis from this perspective because, as Kareem mentioned earlier, the organization is sort of in the early stages of compiling longitudinal data. And so running the analysis from this perspective gives us it enables us to project and predict the students' success rates without having that data by profiling, which we're going to get into in a little bit. So, we're going to talk about profiling. Does anyone here have insurance, life insurance, car insurance? Yeah?
Hopefully everybody.
So, when you go to purchase insurance, the insurance company will ask you a set of questions. And a few things of what they're looking for is like your age, your gender, and your marital status. Does anyone know why they would ask for these things? Like, why would they need to know your age, or your gender, or your marital status?
To predict how good we are at driving.
Yeah, exactly. To predict how likely you are to get into an accident, to predict how likely you are to die, I guess. So yeah, these things, age, gender, and mental status, they might not seem like it, but they are actually very big and very key factors in your probability of getting into an accident. And it may seem counterintuitive, it may not make sense, but when you look at the data, like these are like key factors of your probability of getting into an accident. So when we run our analysis, we found 3 key factors, which is race, zip code, and school district. And these factors will predict our students' rate of success, the probability that they're going to graduate high school. So, how did we choose these categories? Basically what we did is we found graduation rates by different school districts. Right? We just threw a category up there like school district. It would make sense that if you go to a certain school district, you have a higher probability of graduating high school than if you go to a different school district. And this is indicated here. You can see like this is Christina School District. On average, it's lower than like newer charter school districts, which is all the way up here. So like you can see they're in these lines that are separated, not much overlap, a little overlap, but when we average them out, it's really like very little overlap. So that would be a good indicator that if we break the kids down by what school district they go to, this is an indicator of their probability of graduating from high school. The same thing is said by race. We can see that there's still separation. We can see there is more overlap here, but we found that this was still an adequate category to group our kids into to predict their high school graduation rate. And same thing by zip code. Lots of separation, lots of spread here. Okay. Now we're going to get into the analysis. So this part gets kind of technical, just bear with me, and then if you have questions, we'll take that at the end. So what we did for each student in our program, we gave them an ID. We said this person is of this race, lives in this zip code, and goes to this school district. And using these numbers here, as we can see, like, let's go to this one. If you're in Christina School District, you have just over a 0.68 chance of graduating high school in 2016, right? And same thing for all the other ones. So let's say if you're African American, then you've got a probability of 0.8149 graduating high school. If you lived in zip code 19802, this is your probability of graduating high school. And if you went to school district Brandywine School District, then you got this 0.8481. What we did then is we averaged these 3 numbers together, and that gives you the probability of graduating high school for a person with those demographics. Okay? Making sense so far? Okay. And we basically do that for all of our kids. Alright, these next slides here is just saying that when we average the three categories together, when we average the race information with the school district information, with the zip code information, we don't see the spread here anymore. So like, we can see that like, there's like a lot of people from Brandywine here, and that range from here to here, and like the people in this category from Red Clay Consolidated is still within that range. Whereas before, we saw it, they were separate. Okay. And that's just because we averaged the three numbers together. And that's, that when we created our profiles, we would expect to see that they come in a little bit more. Same thing by race, and then the same thing by zip code. Okay? Now, the results, as I said before, this is a graph of our students' profiles based off of race, zip code, and school district. One thing that this graph does not take into account is the fact that these kids are also attending a summer enrichment program like Rodney Street, right? So what happens if we add in Rodney Street as another category? So instead of just race, zip code, and school district, now we also have information of attending Rodney Street as a whole other category. And hypothetically, let's just say Rodney Street has a 100% graduation rate, meaning that every kid who attends Rodney Street also goes on to graduate high school. How would we see these numbers change? We would expect an increase, right? And this is what that looks like here. So again, these are just the kids in general by race, school, district, and zip code. And then the blue ones up top also throws in the fact that they go to Rodney Street. Rodney Street has a 100% graduation rate. And on average, we can say that by attending Rodney Street, your probability of graduating high school is about 3.5% higher, just by attending Rodney Street. Okay. All good? Okay.
So to summarize, Rodney Street offers the academic and tennis enrichment programs here. So as Corey said, if you attend a program like Rodney Street, then you have a 3.5% chance of being more successful, in which we said if you're more successful in this case, you are able to move on from graduating from high school and most likely going to graduate college as well.
Yeah. So running this analysis from the actuarial perspective has enabled us to predict and project the success rate of the children throughout their life. Higher rates of graduating high school means higher rates of graduating college, which means higher potential earning income. And I think that's really important to see that these kids have like an earning potential that's higher than their peers just by attending Rodney Street. I think that's really awesome. I believe that's it.
Great job, guys.